All right, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. Welcome, welcome, welcome. People are still coming on the call. We are live. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Michael Belica, welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. Yep, been talking a lot about XRP. No, why is this taking so long? All right, guys. Yeah, glad to have you back. How's your dad doing? Hope everything's okay with you guys. I don't know why there's such a delay when I turn Zoom on. There's like no delay until I start Zoom. I used to not have this issue. All right. All right. Welcome. That's awesome, Michael. Glad to hear that. Is that the problem, Sandor? Amazon Web Server Probe. All right, guys. So this is XRP. And as you can see, after the big dipperoo on the 10th, when everything dumped, we did come back up to this level. And we'd be kind of holding right above it, which is the 233 to 240 range. But we got a yellow line and a red line crossing here. There's a little bit of an upward trend with this red line, as you can see. And I don't know why my computer is working, going so slow on this chart right here. Let me just try to refresh it one more time. I'm trying to think of what else I can do here. I need to close a couple tabs out, but I'm not sure which one's causing the problem. All right, so on XRP, we have been in this somewhat of an upward trending channel, so to speak, for a little while, coming all the way back here to November 2024. We hit a top, we hit a bottom, we bounced on the bottom, we went back to the top, we created this big bullish flag pattern. This is when we had the big dump. Normally we would break to the upside of this. We weren't expecting this giant fall all the way down to $1.25 or so. And we pulled right back up to the same level, holding above this same upward trending support line. And that's kind of where we're sitting right now. We did fall below it here. We did fall below it here. And we kind of fell below it here. And we held the support after this big dip. We held the support. We fell below it here, and we kind of come back up. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And it seems to be that we got back above it, and we're kind of bouncing on it as support right now at the $2.40 range. I'm going to go over and look at Bitcoin on a coin margin. Let's see if this is any better. Sometimes, depending on whether it's coin margin or otherwise, or USDT, the USDT chart works a lot slower for some reason for me. I already have requests into Phemex to investigate that and see what the problem is. It's not, it might just be on my end. It might be my browser, it might be something, but Bitcoin, on the other hand, doing something, there's a lot to look at here. So I'm just going to get rid of all of this for the moment and just show you that technically speaking, we're still upward trending. We had this big dump, same that I just showed you on XRP, from an all-time high at 126. So we had basically this line right here, guys, the 123 is the important one here. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, but it hit 124.5 here and it hit 126 here. True. But if I put the lines back on, what I'm going to show you here is, actually, you know what? I'm going to get rid of all the drawings and just start over. So we got 123 right here. And I'm just going to put that line straight across. One thing you will notice is that here we hit 123.2 or something like that. Here we hit it and wicked up to about 123.7. We come down and then we wick all the way back up and hit 124.5. And then we fell and went back down to here. This did not hold above this, so therefore technically a double top, not really a new all-time high, even though the price was higher. We drop down, we come back up, we work our way back up, we hit it, can't get through it, wick up to 123.8. Fall back below, wick up to 125.6. That's that one. And then we come down and we wick up to 126.2. And then this next red candle falls below it, and then we retest underneath and drop. So here we did not hold above the 123.2 either. All of these are just wicks above, and even they got higher, but then lower, but these all closed underneath that yellow line. The reason I'm telling you that is because that yellow line is where we need to get above, not 126.5, but we need to get above 123 and hold as support. And we are, quite a ways away from that right now. 18, about $15,000 to the upside, which is very similar to the amount or the price percentage-wise that we fell. So we take the current price and we go up. It's about a 14%. We need to get about 14% higher than where we're at right now. And that is basically about where we fell from here. 15%. So we kind of need to get the same amount back up to the upside that we fell from. And then there's some other things. We have this. If we go back to right about here and we draw an upward trending support line, we have resistance. We broke through, made a new high. Bounced, made a new high. Made a new high. Bounced, made a new high. Bounce, fell through. Well, we wicked through here and came up and bounced on it. Fell through again and hit it as resistance, wicked through, came back below, did not get through it, and now we're still below it. That could be a problem, especially if this long wick to the upside is any indication. We wicked all the way up to 114K, 113.8, approximately 113,987. You can see it right here. 113,987, almost 114. And pulled all the way back down below that line. It's very obvious now when you see the line that there's obviously something going on with this line. If I bring this right to the top of the wicks there, we hit it, we touched it, wicked through, didn't hold underneath, touched it, touch. We need to get above that. That is the 110.5 to the 112 zone. And that's kind of where we're sitting. If I go down to a lower time frame, let's just look at how close we are and what's going on with it. This is where we bounced on it. We went back through it. We hit it as resistance. We wicked above it. We came back below it, and we're trying to get back above it. So far, we have not fell further. But when you go to the smaller time frames, like the hourly, you can take a line from the very tip top of 126.2, touch all of these, and bring that down, and you will see that's the resistance also that we got to get through. So in addition, here we hit it. We wicked above it, but we didn't hold above it. So we got a couple things happening. We have a major support and resistance line, this yellow one going all the way back, upward trending. And now we have a low, a higher low, a higher low, a higher low coming to an apex. So this is how we figure out apexes and trade setups. So this is where we're sitting right now. We are below this line. We need to be above it. We are in an apex, downward trending, lower highs and higher lows and higher lows, coming into an apex. There is only two things that can happen. We're either going to hit this as resistance again and then break to the downside, and this is trouble for Bitcoin, or we're going to finally just pop through two things at once. We're going to break this upward trending support resistance line and this downward trending resistance line right at the same time, right here in the crux, and retest on top of this line, and we will be on our races to get back to all-time highs. The next resistance after that, guys, will be the 123.2, or the 123.2, that line. Even though it's not the all-time high in price, it is the all-time high resistance level that we could not hold above, even when we did get above it. So when you see here, we got above it, we even bounced on it here, but we bounced here, but we made lower highs, and then fell right back below. So this is the line, and currently right here, this is where we're sitting in this apex. So if you can draw that on your charts, start at the very tip top of the all-time high at 126, touch these wicks, and then just bring it all the way down. You will see this wick is a little higher. And this, by the way, this pump up right here, guys, this was a higher low. If we do it just like that, it was a higher low, and it got a higher high, higher than this high, but it did not hold above this high. What would have needed to happen in order for that to be a higher high is this would have came down, bounced on that line, and then made a higher high. Came down, bounced, and made a higher high, and this would have been a trend reversal with higher highs and higher lows heading the other direction. But that didn't happen, and so therefore this didn't happen. And so therefore, this is where we're at. It did come back down and bounce on this support. It is upward trending. We have one touch point here. We have several here, and here. And it's just, now here's the problem. The problem is it did not get back above this line yet. I mean, it wicked above it, but it didn't hold. And even when it was up here, way up here, and it fell all the way down to here, and it bounced above it and held, bounced. It's just like dropping a basketball from the second story balcony. Bounce, dribble, fall. You know, it's like the bounces get lower and lower and lower. Not enough buying pressure to make that bounce higher than the previous. Not enough force. So it falls through and it makes a higher low. Could be looked at as a double bottom as well. This is the bottom, double bottom, and then we finally climb out. Hopefully we will climb out and we will continue to rise and come back up. And this could come, I mean, this, even if I brought it to touch there, if I took it to the exact tip and brought it down like that, That makes sense too, still. I could even bring this down a little bit. There we go. It's still the apex where it needs to come and get above. There's two resistance levels. There's this line and this line. So, and there's only one support level it needs to get through to fall. Any bad news out there? Another, Trump's throwing more tariffs at China, now 115%. Matthew asked, what happens if it breaks below that? Lower resistance? Yeah, so first, what we do is we will go back to a wider screen here. Let's go to the 4 hour and take a look. What you do is just go back in history and look and say, okay, where would be the next support resistance level? Here's one. We had resistance right here before breaking out, and then it retested right here as support. Boom. That's the 97K that we were talking about the other day that we would come down to if we continue in this downward trend, which is still very doable, but that's very possible. It seems like it's trying to get back up. It's trying to get back above this level. This consolidation area right here that we're in, guys, could be looked at as this box right here. It's a very similar situation. Kind of in. We're in that channel, so to speak, of, I think Chad calls it the boardroom. There's other names for it, but we come down and we test that consolidation, and that could wick all the way down to this line, just like it did here. It is possible, but if we continue in this upward trending support and we break above this line, which is the upward trending support, now resistance, it's not good that it's resistance. It's not good that we fell through that. And we retested it as resistance and couldn't hold above it. That's not good. And that we're having much more touch points on this bottom line than we are this top one. That's not good. Several things going on here. And we could just maybe need another wick down to this level first. That's just if that's the bottom. Now, if it hits the 97, can't hold there, goes through that and holds that as resistance, then where? Well, we do have this. Let me go back over and show you guys. We do have the CME futures gap down here. So if we come down to this level we were just talking about, that would be approximately right here. The 97K range. Let me just draw the same thing over here. I'm on the daily, so it doesn't look the same. It's kind of the apex that we're in right now. And if we fall below that, I mean, we could come down to this blue zone, which is the 97 to 98K range. The support and resistance level here. If we fall through that, then we do have a CME gap right here, that has never been filled. And that is between the 91.5 and the 93.5 level. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's all it needs to do. Would not be surprised. But if we go down to the lower time frame, Go to the, what was I just on? This yellow line here, guys, is really the important one, to be honest with you. And that 110.5 to 112 range is really a major support and resistance. So we were talking about that weeks ago, that we needed to stay above 112. And it's just having a hard time doing it. It's this line right here. Just trying to get back above it right there. CME gaps generally get filled. Let me just show you throughout history. Here's one. There's one. Here's one. Filled, both of these filled right here. Here's one. Filled right here. Here's one. This one was filled, and then this one was filled right here. These are not gaps because they were filled. Like it's just a wick. And there might be a little gap there, but it was filled right here. And this one right here has never been filled. Never has it the price come back to this level. This one right here filled right here with this long wick up. This one right here, this gap right here, filled right here. So, again, the stock market, futures market, opening, closing of the markets, going into the weekend, previous day's closing price and the current day's opening price. Bill just answered that. And so, generally speaking, guys, they end up getting filled. The question is when. This one took a while. I mean, this one gapped here in November of 2024, and it didn't get filled until March of 2025. 4 months later. This one right here is April of this year, 2025. Hasn't been filled yet. So I would not be surprised, honestly, if this comes down and fills that to that level. And it could be a huge drop from this top down like this. I mean, let's just look. The last time this happened, guys, wasn't even that long ago. We were at 109,000 right here in January of this year, and we dropped all the way down. It was a giant falling wedge, bullish, very bullish pattern, but before we broke out to the upside, we had to wick all the way down to this level first, not only taking out the CME gap, but even retesting previous high. So wicking down to this level, boom. Not even a big deal. It's normal. Let's just look at what the actual percentage drop was. That was a 32% drop in Bitcoin this year. A lot of people freaked out over this little 15% drop we just had. That was 32%. But the difference is this was over from January to April, 3 months it took to get down, where this one dropped 15% in one day. Yeah, big difference. Yeah, if you want to know where to find them on the chart, first you got to go to the actual CME, Bitcoin CME futures chart. So on TradingView, you'll click on futures. You might be on crypto. Click on futures, and then you click BTC futures. And then you'll see the gaps. There was one up here. Here's some recent ones. This was just July. We filled it here. This one was August. We filled it here. And we have one here. I think we had a little one somewhere in here, which we already filled. Yeah. Hey, Josh, send any concerns with Phemex or as far as lagging or anything, any changes that you see. It would be helpful if you guys go into, rather than just tell me or say it on this call. They need to hear it from other people in this group. So go up here to the top right corner under support, click on support. And when the support window comes up, type in the word human, and then you'll get a live support rep, and then let them know you're in our group and you're experiencing this, and you're not the only one. Other people are talking about it on the live calls, things like that. So the more people they hear from, the better, rather than just me sending it to them. This zone that we're in right here, guys, that we were just talking about, that we're actually down into right now. If I bring this forward here, you'll see we're kind of back in this zone. This is also, they just keep taking it back. It was a major resistance level, this whole zone. So getting through these types of levels, these zones, for whatever reason, sometimes we bounced on it here, couldn't get through. Went into it, couldn't hold above. Went into it, couldn't hold support, fell below. Got into it, held support, went to the top of it, held support, went to the top of it, finally broke out, bounced on it, fell back below, retested it as resistance, went above it, support, resistance, went above it again, fell all the way through to the bottom. Resistance, and now we're kind of struggling in the middle of it. This is like a zone. This is like some type of foggy quicksand area right here we're trying to get through. And we are currently in an apex, and the breakout is imminent, if you ask me, one way or the other. But in order for us to break to the upside, we got two resistance levels here. We have this upward trending support and resistance, and the downward trending apex overhead overall resistance line. All right, let's look at some of the other ones here, because there will come a time, guys, when correlation ends. There will come a time when Ethereum or XRP breaks away and starts to do its own thing independent of Bitcoin. Right now, they all seem to be correlating. They all look very similar on the charts. This is Ethereum. And as far as I'm concerned, we are in a giant bull flag pattern for Ethereum. But also we did wick down from that bull flag to touch the previous upward trending support and resistance. Boom, right here, we hit it. This could be just a giant bullish flag that we're in. Depending on where you put the bottom line, but we're having a hard time getting back into that flag. So this blue line right here, this dark blue line going straight across, was the previous resistance going all the way back to March of 2024 for Ethereum. Boom, we came all the way down here, hit it again. Boom, came all the way down here, hit it again. Boom, but this time we popped above it. We popped above it, held a support, and we're bouncing on it. And now we just fell back below this blue line. So does that mean we're going to fall all the way back down to this level here? No, not necessarily, but we do got to get back above that line. And, when you're on the higher time frames, you got to wait for the whole week to play out. Let me just get rid of some of this stuff and show you what I mean. And we could be technically at an apex here too. Okay, so Bitcoin, I showed you we're kind of an apex. There's a breakout imminent. I would say the same for Ethereum. We are more than 70% through this apex. We obviously have some lower highs. We're winding in, and the floor is the floor. The floor has been support, 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 support for a little while now, even going all the way back to when it was resistance and support way back here, all the way back to August, and possibly even further if I just keep bringing this. Yeah, don't worry about that right now. It's too far. If we break below this line and hold as resistance, if it comes down and breaks that, it's okay to break it. You see, we break it here, we wick through it here a little bit. Back here, we wicked above it. Here, we wick below it. We get a little bit below it sometimes and get right back above it. But if we break through and hold as resistance, breaks through and retest it and bounces, can't get back above it, then I'll be posting some shorts, because to me that means that we will probably be coming down to another level here somewhere in this range. Oh, we've had support, resistance, support, resistance, support. That would be back in the $2,858 range. There might be some more up here. There would be some support before it got that low, probably right here, but it only wicked down that far once, and sucked all the way back up to here, and then climbed and has been holding above this line ever since. So I guess we want to see if it breaks below that or not. If it does, then there will be some shorts to talk about. It's moving too slow right now. Nothing really big is happening. Let's go look at XRP. Another apex, very similar, except for there's a little bit of ways to go on this one. And then this could be looked at a couple different ways. Is this a bear flag? Or is this another, it's just a, I mean, you can have a apex within an apex here. This is kind of like another little bit of a apex. Even if this breaks out though, it doesn't make sense to even worry about this, because if it breaks to the downside, it's still got to hit this support line or get below it. If it breaks to the upside, we're still technically inside this overall apex. So that's what we mean sometimes by don't trade. If you're trading on the lower time frames and you're trading inside of break, bear. Nico, is this a bear flag? Is this a bull flag? It is, but you're on the 5-minute chart. If you zoom out, that's a bull flag inside of a bear flag inside of an apex. It's like, should you even be worried about that bear flag on the 5-minute chart? Let's zoom out and you'll see a totally different picture. This does look like a giant bull flag at first glance before we had that big breakout, right? We had this happening. This is what it looked like before this big fallout to the downside. And I think we were all expecting a break to the upside and a new all-time high. And then look at this, all the way down to here, shook everybody's world. He took everybody's lunch money, liquidated a lot of people, billions of dollars changed hands, and then billions more came back in the market and brought us right back up to above this level, or it's just kind of getting its feet back. It's getting the wobbles out. It got knocked on its ass for a minute, starting to become conscious again. And as soon as it gets conscious, who knows? Trump could announce another tariff or something crazy, right? So we're waiting. Although I am in some trades, as you can see down here, not so good ones right now. I was profit on some of them. I got taken out because I moved my stop losses in profit. And then some of them were very low profit, and I was in high profit actually, but they came back down and hit my stop losses. And these I stayed in, or I don't even know what I entered. So these are kind of negative right now, but just a little bit higher contracts. So those are not signals that I'm giving you. I'm just waiting for them to turn around. Let's see. That's XRP USD. Let's go. That's the one I'm on right now. Here's my entry right here. It's really not far away from my entry. It's just that negative about $213 on this one. And my liquidation is not far away. That's the problem right with this one. So what I'm going to do on my XRP, I'm going to see if I can. Not sure if I can or not. I'm going to lower my leverage on this. I cannot unless I add more contracts. I am hoping that we stay above that. This is a little risky. I don't really recommend anybody doing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add more contracts. That moved my entry down a little bit. Still can't lower my leverage. I mean, my liquidation. It did lower a little bit when I just added more contracts, but I just want to keep it below that line, because in fact, I'm going to put a stop loss right under that too, right above that, because if we get below that line, I'm going to want to reverse this and take the loss, take the cut. So $2.32. That's a big percentage loss, but it's better than getting liquidated. I'd rather lose 70% than 100%, but that's because I don't have a stop loss up here when I entered. Where did I enter? Way up here after making new high after new high after new high, coming into what I thought was a nice looking cup in hand, which we could still be in. And we could see a nice turn. And I think that the real shakeout and the real problem was the tariff announcement, which would just bring us up somewhere up in this level up here, back up to 260, 270 if we broke to the upside of this. Probably right around to this resistance level right here. So I'm going to hold for now. It looks like we could be curving around. We'll see what happens on XRP. Anything else you guys want me to look at? My thoughts on XRP, Captain Johnny, is I am expecting some big moves for XRP to the upside. I think that all the catalysts that need to happen in order for XRP to move into, triple digits, $10, $25, $50, $100 and up for XRP. All of the catalysts that are needed for that to happen are not pie in the sky hopes and wishes of the XRP army. These are actual things that are happening. They're not only happening, but they are close to being finalized. They're inevitable. So the way I look at XRP is that it's just a matter of time before XRP is $100 per XRP or even $1,000 per XRP. I just don't know when. But I don't want to be caught with my pants down when the tide goes out. And that's what's going to happen to a lot of people, as the old saying goes. All of a sudden you wake up one day and the thing shoots up to $20 or $25, you're going to be very upset that you're not holding a bunch of XRP. And so I would rather be safe than sorry on that one. So I just keep accumulating, just like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's already over $100,000 and I still keep accumulating because it's still easier to accumulate now than it will be when it's 1.8 million or 2.7 million for Bitcoin. So, I think it's inevitable to get there, just like when Bitcoin was $3 and Bitcoin was $13. When Bitcoin was $3, how many people thought it was going to go to 13 or 20? Very quickly. And it did. Let's just look at that, just so you guys can see the correlation.
Nico, what do you think about the liquidation down at the 213 or so range for XRP?
Whose liquidation? Mine, or what liquidation do you mean? You're on mute. Come back off mute.
I said, what do you think about the liquidation in the 213 range on XRP?
I mean, whose liquidation? What are you talking about? Stay off mute, please, so you can talk to me.
I'm sorry, I had to cough on the liquidation heat map. I know it took out some that was up
okay,
at the
yeah, it's gotta be specific.
the 252 or so range, and then you got the 213 range down at the bottom.
If you go back to symbol, you can pick XRP by itself.
Yeah, I'd like to pair it against USDT or US dollar.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you said 213? I don't know what you're looking at, to be honest with you. I see some down here, the 235 range. I mean, 213 is not even on my,
Yeah, I don't know. It might have changed. I didn't look at it today.
what time frame are you on also on the up here? I think it just has just as much likelihood to go up to 245 right now as it does to come down here to 233. I'm not sure. I don't anticipate it going down, but I also did not anticipate this to $1.26. And that just proves that it can happen, obviously, but in the years that we've been trading, we've seen this maybe happen once or twice. I mean, we've seen bigger drops than this percentage wise, but not in one candle on the 4 hour or on the hourly time frame. This is like one. I mean, let's go to the hourly and look at this. That was one candle in 1 hour.
You also posted yesterday that wick on Mcoin on rep on XRP. Remember that wick we posted yesterday?
This one here.
No, the other one, the smaller one, yesterday's wick.
From previously.
Uh, it was just on Coin and on XRP. It did a wick. Remember you posted it. You said
Oh yeah,
something.
yeah. I posted this crazy whipsaw volatility in XRP only on XRP margin. Don't see it on USD. That was this right here. But that actually, that was only on my. I don't know where I saw that, but when I refreshed, it wasn't there anymore. So I'm not sure what happened here, guys. But it looked like it wicked all the way down here. Did it? Let's go back and look. That was on the 10-minute time frame. Yeah, I don't see anything. I mean, maybe it was one of these drops here, but for some reason it looked like a huge wick on that screenshot that I shared with you guys. But I didn't see it when I went back on my other PC. So sometimes we see those weird anomalies. It wasn't this one. That was the original one. So yeah, I mean, I don't really have an answer for you for your question as far as the liquidation down at 213. I mean, it's certainly possible. That's not far away. I mean, that would be somewhere in this range down here. And I think if we do come down this low, we'll just be retesting this bottom, this double bottom here. Certainly could happen, but I don't really anticipate that. And I don't really think that's going to happen.
Well, Nico, couldn't that happen if November 1st, the China and Trump talks and it doesn't go well and he raises it to 150% tariff or whatever? Wouldn't that create another shock and make everything, altcoins and everything fall again like it did?
Yeah, I mean, it does create shock, but there's really no reason for it. I don't understand why it even happens when that happens. The fear, if people want to fear in the financial markets, they should be putting money into crypto, not taking money out. So the shock factor and the whipsaw action seems manipulated to me. The only reason to make this happen is so that you can buy a shit ton of it back down here. And the only people that could buy down here are the people that are prepared for this to happen here. Because this happens so fast, you can start to buy back in on the way up, but you're never gonna buy down here. I don't know if any of you tried, but it's very difficult to get any transactions to work when this is happening, because in order for you to sell, or even for a stop loss to get hit, or a take profit target, or a limit order, anything to get filled, it requires someone on the other end to be wanting what you're selling. If you're selling, there has to be a buyer. If you're buying, there has to be a seller. And when this is happening so fast, you guys wonder sometimes, well, I had a stop loss, it didn't get triggered. I had this, I was trying to buy, I had a limit order, it didn't get filled. Phemex is trying to rip me off. No, that's not how it works. Phemex is like the broker that's trying to settle your transactions with other people. And the reason why you can sell almost any time, like right now, if I just want to sell, I can sell because there's buy orders in. There's people trying to buy all the time for equal amounts or lesser. If I tried to sell $1 billion, I might have a problem getting that filled. They might sell $1 million worth, and then 5 minutes later another million, and 5 minutes later another million, so on and so forth. But all at once, it wouldn't fill. But when there's huge whipsaw action like this happening, it's not the platform's fault. Most platforms have a problem filling orders during this volatility. And so you can be frustrated. I get frustrated too when it happens, especially if you're in a trade and it didn't trigger your stop loss or your take profit target. You feel cheated, you feel ripped off, but really it can't fill it until there's something called a slippage. And the slippage has to find your order within a certain field or a certain percentage from the time you placed it. If you set your slippage at 10%, let's just say, and you put a buy order in or a sell order in, it has to fill it within 10% of your buy order. If it goes beyond that 10%, it's not going to fill, and you're going to have to resubmit a new buy order or sell order.
Nico, could I ask you a related question?
Yes.
Suppose we wake up and XRP is at $100, and you got this XRP army of people trying to sell at the same time. And you're saying there has to be buyers on the other side. How can they sell that much volume in a single minute or hour?
Well, that's a good question, but when you say XRP army, you're talking probably about thousands of people with very small amounts. And if XRP shoots to $100, I can assure you there'll be just as many people trying to buy it as sell it, or more.
You would also get like the October 10th result for basically everything, because you had that one big short order for, I don't remember how much it was, and it just plummeted because there was no one there to buy it until all the way down at the bottom.
Yeah, and then billions came back in, 3.4 billion to be exact, shot this back up to here. But I don't know if the XRP army would be selling at $100. Somebody will be selling, sure, to take profit. But these guys have been holding for 5 years, and I don't think they're waiting for $100. I think they're waiting for $1,000 or $20,000 or $10,000 for XRP. But it's a good question. But most of the holders, they have 100 XRP or 10 XRP. If you had 100 XRP and XRP shot up to $100 and you tried to sell, it would be instant. $10,000 is easy. There's enough liquidity in the market to handle that. 48 million USD per 24-hour turnaround just on this platform alone, not counting Binance and Bybit and Bixflex and Fin, whatever, Blowfin, and all the other platforms out there. So I don't think there's a liquidity issue unless you're talking billions. When billions are selling, that's a different story. This was a huge waterfall event, and it got bought back up very quickly. Not all the way back up to this level where it fell from, but certainly I think it was said 3.4 billion came back into the market very quickly. So I mean, it depends. If it gets to 100, are you selling? And if so, now it might be a good place to take some profit off the table. If you got 10,000 XRP, let's just say, and you bought 10,000 XRP at $1, okay, so you got 10,000 invested, and it shoots up to 10,000, shoots up to $100 for XRP, and you got 10,000 of them. you got $1 million and you sell $100,000 worth. You take your initial principal off the table plus 10x, let's just say. Since you went up 100x in value, maybe you take 10x off. Put that in your pocket. I mean, that might be smart to do. And then if XRP goes up to $200 again after that, you still got 90% of your portfolio left. You got 90% of your tokens left. So you got I don't know, my brain's not working today, but you get the point. You take off a little bit more, but you have 9,000 left or whatever, and now it's worth $200 each or $2 million, and you take another $100,000 off the table, and you keep doing that until XRP gets up to $1,000. You're still going to end up at $1,000 if you did that every time. Every time it went up $100, it would take 8 or 9 times doing that before it got to $1,000 per XRP. You might be down to only, I don't know, 1,000 XRP by then. So you'd still have $1 million with XRP, but you would have taken technically would have taken $1 million off the table. Whereas it would be much better off if you held it all the way through that whole thing. But hindsight is genius. You don't really know if it's going to go to $1,000 or 10,000 ever. But again, a meteoric rise in XRP depends on its use case and whether it actually gets a foothold in the financial markets as settlement for all the currency transactions around the world. And from what I understand, it is not only in the process of doing that, it's actually inevitable that that's happening. Maybe not all the transactions, maybe not even Swift's transactions, but a whole, taking over, not taking over Swift, but replacing Swift with a whole nother option besides Swift. Swift could still be there doing 80% of the transactions. If XRP just gets 15% of all the transactions, it would still be $1,000 plus for XRP. The price would have to be that high in order to handle the settlements, from what I understand. So I guess it depends on your goal and what you're worried about. I'm not worried about it going up to $100. I'm not worried about a quick sell off if it hit $100 and then it dropped back down to 80 or 90. That would be normal price fluctuation. If we go to Bitcoin and look at that, how many times that's happened over the years, whenever we hit a new parabolic move to the upside or a new all-time high, we had huge pullbacks. Just in this bull market. That would be like this, like Bitcoin went from 16K here up to, 25K or 30K, or even all the way up to 73K, and then dumped all the way back down to 49K, jumped all the way up to 108K, and then dropped all the way back down to 75K. The overall trajectory is still up, but we do have these big pullbacks. And then we go back to previous bull markets. We went from, look at this, we went from $3,800 right here to 64,000 in a relatively short period of time. That's a 1,543% move to the upside. That would be $37 XRP if that happened in this bull market. if we popped from $2.44 up to $37. And I believe that has, let's just look at XRP. Yeah, I can only go back so far on this chart, but we popped up from here from 47 cents, 49 cents, let's just say. $583%. And that happened in
November.
2 months, from November to January, which is about the same amount of time we got in this bull market. Current price is $2.40, let's just say, times 583%. If that were to happen again, which we obviously know it can happen, that would bring us up to $13, $14. And that's kind of the increments that it probably will happen at. It probably will be something like that. Just when is the question. Where it's at right now, there's a 300, 400, 500% gain right there, bringing us up to $14 right about here.
Nico, I got a question here for you. I know this is maybe a little off track, but quite related. Could you make a comment on the U.S. debt clock post that you made there? Kind of looked at that and wondering how it all ties in your opinion. Thanks.
Yes. Check out the US debt clock and click the secret window in the upper right-hand corner.
Interesting indeed.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of things going on since Doge took over right here. This is new to the debt clock. The debt clock's been around for a long time, but this is new since Trump and Doge took over. And look at the savings. And then assets backed dollar down here, total hidden wealth, wealth per citizen, gold supply, demand. There's so many things on this, guys. This is a pretty detailed kind of report here. But in the upper right-hand corner, a secret window up here, you click on that, and you can click on these, and they will open up to different, I mean, so many different things, guys. I mean, like so much information here. It's like kind of crazy. Close this for a second. Click on this one. Yeah, I recommend you guys go through it, but if you open the New Money Revolution PDF after clicking on it and kind of scroll through these, I mean, there's so many different things. Bill can post this in a conspiracy channel. He can talk about it because it's not really conspiracy, guys. This is actually true.
Right on.
The Bank of England, debt of money, war makes debt, you know, basically how everything has came to be to this current time. Failed fiat currencies, the time
Back to the
period.
Romans.
Yeah. You guys also, I don't know if you guys heard, but Germany is trying to break away from, they just announced recently that they're going to break away from, I believe, the European Union. create their own Nova something, their own alliance.
Deutschmark.
Yeah. In the US, when we threatened to do it, which we did, and Trump did it, everybody freaked out. Oh my God, how can we break away from these long institutions? And it's like, if you really understood. So it's kind of written a little cartoonish, but it's definitely something you guys should probably take some time and go through and kind of understand how we even got to where we're at. The purchasing power of the dollar, I talk about this a lot, guys, and how it drops 8 to 10% per year in purchasing power. Literally 97% drop in purchasing power since the beginning of the 19th century, just 100 years. In 100 years, the dollar's purchasing power has dropped from $1 to 3 cents. So in other words, 100 years ago, you could buy $1 for something that's worth $1. You can buy it now. $1 gets you 3 cents in equivalent value as to what you could buy 100 years ago. And a good example of that is gold coins. Gold coin is based on an ounce of gold, right? And a $20 gold coin that you might see in a coin store, it says $20. That's the face value of it, right? Face value of it is 20 bucks. And so when we were on the gold standard, a $20 gold coin was equal in value to a $20 bill. 100 years ago, I always give the men's clothing store example because a man could walk into, or a woman, doesn't matter. But as the story goes, a man could walk into a tailor and flip him a $20 gold coin or a $20 bill. Didn't matter. They were both worth the same. And he could walk out with a suit, a tie, a top hat, a cane, a handkerchief, a well-dressed man. 100 years later, in 2025, a $20 bill can barely buy you 2 Happy Meals at McDonald's. But a $20 gold coin is worth what now? $4,000? Can still buy you a suit, a brand new suit, a tie, top hat, a cane, a hanky, probably a pair of shoes. And you could still walk out a well-dressed man because that held its value. The gold stayed equal. That's why they call it a hedge against inflation, gold. You're not going to really get rich from buying gold, but if you're already rich, that's what you do is you buy gold. It's a hedge against inflation because it holds its value over time. Whereas the dollar has gone down 97% in value. The money supply increased from 20 billion to 22 trillion in that same time period. So what happens when you mass produce something to the tune of from 20 billion to 22 trillion, the value of it goes down and down and down. If you have a Picasso piece of art that you hang on your wall that you got at an auction for $20,000 or whatever a Picasso costs these days, probably more than that. The reason why is because it's rare. There's only so many of them in existence. But if you want to buy a print where they just copy it and print it out on a postcard, well, those are 99 cents. And you can buy an unlimited amount of those. If you wanted to make them yourself, you could print out thousands of them for pennies. And so the more of something that exists, the less valuable it is. Same with the US dollar. And so kind of a house of cards and kind of they're not hiding. It's kind of the way it is. And when they started printing dollars and, back in the day, people thought that it was easier to carry a wad of cash, which were called notes, which they still are. If you look at the top of any dollar bill or $20 bill, it says U.S. Reserve Note at the top. And a note is simply an IOU. It's an IOU, nothing from the federal government. So that's what a note is. And so when you go to a 7-Eleven or the gas station or a grocery store and you hand them a $20 bill, you're trading a note for the goods and services. And they are accepting it because right now, as of right now, it still holds value and it's backed by the US government and it's guaranteed to be exchangeable. And in other words, they feel confident that they can give you the goods and services for that $20 bill because we're still accepting them. But the only reason we switched over to paper money is because it was difficult for people to carry around gold and silver. You'd have to carry bags of it, and it was very heavy and cumbersome. And so what people would do is they would take their gold and silver to the bank and they would say, here's 2 pounds of gold and here's 2 bags of silver. The total weight is this much, blah, blah, blah. This is how much it's worth. And the banker would give them Federal Reserve notes, IOUs, in exchange for the gold, and they would hold the gold in reserve and they would give you the notes so that you wouldn't have to carry all the gold and silver around. And so you could go around and pay for things with the note. And then people started noticing they would, instead of coming back for their gold to buy things, people were just trading these notes around at the grocery stores. So what's going on here? No one's coming back for the gold. No one's coming back for the silver. They're just exchanging those paper things that we gave them as value. And people are just accepting them because it says that it's worth $20 on it. Wow. Well, shit, I guess we don't really have to hold this gold in reserve anymore because no one's coming back for it. In fact, why don't we just print a bunch more of these notes and not have them backed by anything? People are accepting them. Yeah, Steve's holding up right now. Gold, what is that? A silver certificate? Nice. So people are just accepting these notes, guys. And we've gotten to that point now and where we're basically accepting paper, not even paper. It's cloth. It's like fabric, fibers, in exchange for whatever we want because we think it's worth something when really it's not backed by anything. I mean, it's backed by the good faith of the federal government and they're accepting it. In other words, if you take it and deposit in your bank account, it's gonna show up on your online banking computer digits as a deposit for that amount. And then you can then resell it or send it somewhere else and buy something else with it. But it's only a house of cards because it can only go on for so long. They just keep printing more of it. And from what I understand, 80 or 90% of all the money that has ever been printed in the history of our country was printed in the last 2.5 years. Is that crazy or what? In the last 4 years, rather. Hyperinflation in the last few years. Crazy.
Hello, Nico. Can I ask
Yeah.
a question real quick?
Yes.
Now, someday we're going to go all digital money.
Yes.
When that happens, the paper money we have, like I have some old collectible, like a Black Eagles and stuff. Is that going to be worthless now, or do you think
No,
it'll be worth more?
No, I think paper money will be, well, first of all, there's something called numismatic.
Yeah.
You go to a coin store or any kind of money collector store, you can buy $1,000 bills. $1,000 bills, used to be a thing where you could just get them at the bank, but now they don't make them anymore. The government doesn't print them anymore. So now they're collectibles. And I think, I don't even know, probably $10,000 to buy a $1,000 bill right now. So those things will go up in value because they'll become collectibles.
Yeah.
But if you don't turn your fiat currency into the bank, and I'm not talking about the collectible kind, I'm talking about the regular dollars and $5 bills and $10 bills and the $20 bills. If you don't bring them in, if they do what you're talking about, if they do go digital and they go cashless, there'll probably be a recall on all currency. If you want it credited to your bank account or to your thing, you better bring it in so that they're going to want to destroy all that. Right.
Yeah.
And then they'll credit your bank account. But if you don't bring it in, and then that money becomes worthless and no one's going to want it, you're not going to be able to exchange it for anything. And the only people that are going to want it are the people that want it for collectible purposes, or maybe to wallpaper their downstairs bathroom in dollar bills. There's going to be reasons why people want it. Right. People will lay it all over their bar and then pour shellac all over it just so it looks cool. We've done that. We've done that with pennies.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, that's my opinion. I don't know. I mean, we've seen that happen in other countries where the streets are just littered with $100 bills and $20 bills, and no one's even picking them up because it would take wheelbarrows full of it barely to buy a loaf of bread because it got so devalued.
Yeah.
But people still sell those $1 trillion Zimbabwe dollar bills, $1 trillion bills.
Yeah, Zimbabwe.
Yeah, they're collector's items now.
Oh gosh. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Here, I'll show you something right here, guys. This is kind of funny. Zimbabwe banknotes. Here you go. starting at $239 for a $100 trillion bill. They had to get, because the value of them was going down so much that they had to just keep increasing the bills all the way up to 100 trillion. So for $239 US, you can be a trillionaire in Zimbabwe. So these are now collector's items and people buy them. Actually, yeah. So if you buy 100 or more, it's $238 for one, but if you buy 100 or more, it's $230. So people buy them as just fun things to have or to hang on their wall or to $100 billion Zimbabwe stack of cash, stack of $100 uncirculated or circulated for $1,600. Interesting stuff, guys. This is what happens when the dollar crashes and the value of the dollar goes to nothing. It's happened in many countries. Zimbabwe is just one that comes to mind. But look at this. Here's US silver certificate, $10, a $10 bill for $429. So these things go up in value. When they're out of circulation, they don't make them anymore. They become collector's items. I find it fascinating. I have a store here in my area called Bel Air Coins. These guys got some amazing things in there. I mean, they got bars of silver on the desk that are so heavy you can't even lift them up. They got bars of gold and big chunks of, they got every kind of coin you can imagine, every dollar numeration of previous US currency you can buy. Some of them it's uncirculated, some of it's circulated, meaning some of them have never been touched before. They're in plastic. And they're just like I think someone was just holding one up a minute ago. And yeah, it's fun to collect that stuff. I like that kind of stuff. But if you buy $1,000 bill for $10,000, you're not going to go spend it. That's just for your own personal collection. But if you're one of those people that are scared and want to protect yourself and have a bag of silver in case the shit hits the fan, you can go buy bags of silver. There we go. Other silver coins right here. They don't have to be fine silver dollars. You could just buy, look at Great American Coin Company, commemorative coin collection, bags. Here we go. 40 coins circulated, or nickels and silver. The only reason you're buying this is for the silver content, in case you have to be bartering in silver. You buy whole bags of pure silver. These are nickels, so I wouldn't buy those, but whoops. $35% to 40% silver coins. I don't know why they're showing pictures of nickels, but
40%. War nickels had 40% silver.
oh, war nickels, yeah. Silver rounds, fractional silver rounds, less than 10 ounces.
You're better off buying it by the kilo or by the ounce bar, 10-ounce bars. It's cheaper.
Yeah, but the guys, listen, the reason why you would even want to do this is in case the shit hits the fan and you need to literally go and buy food and supplies, and cash is no longer good. No one's taking it. Everybody wants real silver or gold. And all you have are silver bars. What are you going to do? You're going to take a sharp knife and try to chisel off some silver. So the best way to do it would be have small denominations that you can easily piece out. And also even cash, for instance. So I had a federal agent. I don't think he's on this call right now. Maybe he is. We have a federal agent, retired federal agents in our group. But I spoke to a federal agent and they said that if we ever have to go into maritime law or martial law in this country, and it is possible for these things to happen, guys, that you want to have lots of small denominations cash. You don't want to have 20s and 100s. You want to have 1s, 5s, and 10s. And the reason why is because you go to buy something from somebody and they don't have any ones, fives, and tens to give you as change. And you're going to pay $20 for something that costs $1. You give a $20 bill and you're going to want something in return. They're going to be like, sorry, we don't have any change. That's it. So it's always good if you're going to listen. I'm not one to be, a survivalist. I mean, I like the idea of it. And I think it's smart for everybody to be prepared in case of a bad situation happening. But because it's never happened in our lifetime, we don't really even understand. I don't know if you guys, I live in Florida where we have hurricanes where the power can go out for 4 or 5 days straight. I don't know if you guys have experienced that, but most people don't know what to do if the power's out for more than a couple hours. They freak out if they've never had that situation. They don't even know how to light matches and candles. They don't have matches. So most guys on this call that are older than probably 25, 30, we've had to, rough it at least one point in our life, right? But most people would just have no idea. And by the way, that's only a few days. Imagine if it was a month or 2 months or 3 months. We would have pandemonium in the streets, people rob. So in order for that, guys, if you ever really want to be prepared for that kind of stuff, you might want to have some kind of survival kit and bags of dollars and silvers and things like that. But then again, who knows if that happens? Will anybody want any money? No. I mean, can openers might be the medium of exchange. He who has the cans is the wealthy person, and the person with the can openers can barter. You never know. I don't even like to talk about the doom and gloom possible scenarios, but we live in different times now, and hopefully that will never happen. But if you really understand how the world operates right now, guys, everybody goes through life. Everybody goes through life thinking that they're in control every day. And you are like this far away from being out of control. Like you have no clue how close to out of control you really are. We think we got shit figured out. All it takes is one grid being knocked out from some kind of explosive device in the atmosphere to knock out the power grids for 6 months. I don't know what would happen. Marlon says, check out the doomsday clock. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to freak you guys out. It gets pretty, yeah. I mean, if you go down that rabbit hole, you'll be depressed and you'll think, what are we even here for? But I like to be optimistic and think for the best, guys, and hope for the best, but it is good to obviously be prepared. But having bars of gold and shit like that, it's nice to have in your safe and it feels good to hold, but I'm not so sure if that's going to save you unless you're going to clunk somebody over the head with it who's trying to break into your house, because you're not going to be able to piece that out to buy things unless someone puts a gun to your head and says, give me your gold. They're going to want all of your bars of gold. They're not going to want you to give them $10 worth of gold unless you have broken coins and small little coin denominations. In Dubai, they sell gold in ATM machines and like $10 chunks, tiny little pieces, all the way up to $10,000 chunks. All right, let's get back to crypto here, guys. I know I get off track sometimes, but there's nothing really happening on the charts at the moment. We got some consolidation. We're at 107.9. Bitcoin is still hovering on this upward trending support level that we were talking about earlier from the big drop down. And then here, we are coming into this apex. I'm going to suggest that I'm waiting for a breakout one way or the other. If we do break to the downside, we could come down and retest these levels, the 97K to the 100K zone. And that's just based on the next support level down. We also have the CME gap right here that we talked about. So if we do break through that level, we could come down to the 93.5 to 91.5 range. That would be the next level down if we cannot hold up here. CME gap probably will get filled, but doesn't mean it's going to fill first or anytime soon. It could be next year sometime. And obviously we're way up here right now. So that would be a long drop to go, but just know that if we break this upward trending support and we can't get it back above this one, coming all the way back from here when we were at 97K, back when we were at 97K, this is what we broke through and retested. And then we held above this level, upward trending, and we bounced and we wicked down on the big drop on the 10th. We came back above it and held, fell below and hit resistance there. So we're kind of in that little apex window. So we have downward trending resistance from the all-time high right here, 126. Downward trending. And then we have upward trending support from the big drop down. And we're coming into an apex. But this yellow line right here is the one that goes all the way back to 97K. And we held above that this whole time. And some other people out there and some other charts would say that we need to be above that, which is the 110.5 to the 112 zone. We got to get above this level in order to be back in the game, heading to the upside, which is this yellow line and this red line right here. That red line is the 112. And the yellow line converges on the 112, right? Just put that where it is, where it's supposed to be, right here, right where this whole crux comes together. I mean, isn't that kind of amazing how they all come together right there? And so to me, that's probably where we're going to have to break out. Right through there, boom, and hold a support above the 112, and then we're out. On our way to new all-time highs, retesting the 123, the 123 that I told you about earlier. It's where we need to get above. Right here, 123. We went above it here at 124.5, fell back below, didn't hold above. We went above it here, 124.5, 125, 126. Neither time did we hold above it. We fell below, retested, fell below, retested, fell below, retested, and then dropped. So this is kind of where we're at right now in this apex. I am long on Bitcoin and XRP, but I am negative at the moment because I'm waiting for it to break to the upside. If we do break to the downside, I will give that signal. I will let you know. We'll probably reverse that position, but that would be a short scalp. It wouldn't be long term. So you guys got to keep in mind that if you see me shorting anytime during this bull market, it's very short term. It's just a quick scalp. It's in and out for whatever, maybe that day. But we're still bullish. We're still in a bear market, bull market, and we just went back up to 108. So we're trying to hold above this right now. It's at the 107.9. Reed, yes, this is a good investment right there. If you got the land and the cows, should be able to survive. Liga says NASDAQ been in a downtrend all day. I haven't looked at NASDAQ, but I did tell you guys that I think that we might have a stock market crash back. And that was I don't know if you guys remember, but it was the day this happened. Remember when I said the stock market could drop to 3,500 anytime now? I wasn't predicting this, and I had no idea this was going to happen. And I certainly didn't, when the stock market drops 3,500, Bitcoin usually doesn't drop this much. If we see a 20% drop in the stock market, it's usually a 5% drop in crypto. This was crazy, but this was 15% on Bitcoin, 56% on XRP. The stock market did drop, but not that much. It went from like 60, whatever it was, 6,500 down to 6,000. But what is it now? Anybody know in the charts? What is the S&P? Yeah, everything's slow moving right now, Norman. It's kind of we're just in this consolidating pattern right now. I would say a breakout is imminent, guys. So just be on the lookout. I'm going to post if I see anything changing. I will definitely post it in the chat. But we'll wrap this call up now. For those of you who are new, get on the basics call today at 12. I'm sorry, I can't even think. 2 p.m. coming up in 30 minutes. Basics call would be a nice continuation of this, especially if you're new guys. And Bill will be going over all kinds of things for basics so that you understand what you need to be and what you need to get set up so that you can take these signals. I'm going to wait for a break. Sorry, go ahead.
Have anyone checked out COAI? This coin has been up like 15,000% since its inception in September.
COAI?
COAI, yes. Like since September 26th, it's up like 15,000%. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely was doing nothing for a while.
I think it's a partner with Binance somehow. Forgot they had a bunch of coins, BNB, that were going up on there.
Yeah, that's very bullish. That's positive. You guys might want to get on that and take a look at it. Bill can talk about it as well. Chad can probably talk about this on his next call as well. I'll take a look at it as well and see what I think, but it does look much stronger. Obviously, there's a lot of action, a lot of buying pressure happening right now since it was pretty much doing nothing for a couple months. Finally took off, shot up, came back down. Big sell-off here, boom. And then bounced, kind of hit the same support and resistance level, hit it, and then broke through it right again. So we're back above this line. In fact, just for the hell of it, I don't know anything about this. I'm going to do some research, but I will go long on it and just see where my liquidation is. It's way down here. Okay. All right. So I am long on COAI. I will put that in the chat and the Discord, because normally I wouldn't just jump in, but it is breaking back above previous support. So I have an entry at $12.39. Shit, this brand new token, it's already way more than XRP.
Yesterday at 4 o'clock, it was $6.26.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's already 2x'd.
Yeah, its high was like 19, like $19. It went from like 13 cents to $19 at all time high.
All right, let me just look here for a second. COAI, $12.39. I don't really know how long this thing can go, but that's just my position right there. Looks promising. I mean, that was a nice, perfect cup and handle too. See, guys, there's so many cryptos out there that, once you understand what you're looking for, you can go and find them. Look at this, perfect cup and handle. So you got a breakout happening right now, probably going to bring us up to the $15.27 range, which would be this previous support level. Boom. First, right? Also back here, you can see. I just keep bringing this over. That was the first resistance level. Boom. Support, 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 support. It's going to come up to that level. It'll probably hit resistance and hopefully break through. It's hitting resistance right now. I don't know. So check that out. If you want to play around, make sure you put a stop loss in place, guys. Yours doesn't. I'm going to put mine at what did I say? 760 or something like that. 760. Just to get one on the board, I will move it in profit as it continues. Because that's a. Hold on a second here. It's got me across levers. That's why. That's why my liquidation is so far. Watch what happens to my liquidation if I go from cross to isolated. Holy cow, it's right under my entry now. Get it out of the way for now. So I'm going to leave it on cross, and I'm going to I'm just going to move my stop loss up as this continues to climb. No reason to take a big risk on these guys. These are unknown new tokens. Yes, it could pump all the way back up to these all-time highs. Again, that would be $21. That's a 2x from where it's at right now. That would be nice. But we could also hit some resistance. This could be downward trending for all we know, but it did get back above this line. So if anything, it gets caught in an apex here and breaks out again. All right. Yeah, cup and handle, Dan, for sure. Nice one. And the breakout could be even, this could be the breakout here on that cup and handle.
Nico, if you have a second, I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so when we talk about the estimated liquidation price, how the only way to bring that down is to add more contracts?
Well, if you're at low leverage, I mean, the higher your leverage, the closer your liquidation is to your entry. So you can lower your leverage. And if you're on isolated, and what that means is it's isolating your potential loss is isolated to just your margin, which means that if it went down and hit your liquidation, the most you could lose is what's here in your margin column. So on that trade, COAI, I'm risking $602. That's my margin. So if I got liquidated and I was under isolated, I could only lose that $602. But because I'm on cross leverage, if it goes past that and comes all the way down and hits my liquidation here, I will lose 300%. Let's go look. Let's just see how much I will lose. 386%. So that's my $600.
And right there in the red, doesn't it say exactly what you're going to lose when you go back to that really quick?
Right here?
Yeah, go back to where you were when you
So
clicked
mine-
on the, and see the little red, I can't really see it on my screen, but it says S total.
Down
Yeah,
here?
what is that what you're going to lose?
No, I believe
Yes, that's what you would lose at your stop loss.
Okay, that's what I thought.
At my stop loss.
If it hits your stop loss, that's what you'd lose.
Yeah, you'd be minus 23.37 instead of 600.
Yeah, but I think that's all my open positions.
No, that's just for that particular token, but it's on cross. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
gonna,
that's right, because it's on cross.
and it's that 300%,
380%, right? So that
Yep.
exactly. I'm sorry, guys. My brain wasn't. I was thinking percentage. So that's 600 some odd dollars times 3.86 or 386%. So yeah, 600. Yep, $2,323. Now, if I was on isolated, could only lose 600 too. That would be the most if it hit my liquidation. But see, if it's not going to hit my liquidation, even though I'm on cross, because I have a stop loss way up here. I mean, if it hit my liquidation, it would be a lot more loss. I'm sorry, if it hit my stop loss, that's what I would lose. But if it hit my liquidation down here, that would be a lot more. That would be all the money in my USDT wallet. So be very careful with cross leverage. Liga says, unless it doesn't honor the stop loss, like on 10-10. Yeah, that's a freak thing. That's when the price is moving so fast. For instance, like here, let's say you had a TP up here somewhere. This might not have got triggered. I don't know. That looks like a huge pump and dump. That's why generally I stay away from these crazy coins. But hey, there's a lot of money to be made on them. You just got to protect yourself with the proper risk management and stop losses. Don't bet the farm. Get on the basics call with Bill coming up here in about 15 minutes, guys. I got to run. If any other questions before I go, I will make sure that if I see any changes on the majors, Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, even this one now that I entered the trade, I will certainly post it in the Discord and the Signals channel. But other than that, Bill is totally capable of answering any of your questions. You're very welcome. Thank you, Ramona. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you guys. Tomorrow night, I'll be going live tomorrow night with Chad. We have our Thursday webinar. Is that tomorrow already? Yep. Tune in tomorrow if you'd like. Let us know for the link. We post it in the main chat in our Discord. In our free Facebook group. But if you guys want it, you can ask for it in the main chat in our Discord and hop on there. I'll be trading live. There could be some live action happening tomorrow as well. There usually is. So looking forward to seeing you guys there. Other than that, have a great rest of your day. Get on the basic call with Bill coming up here shortly. He posted the link in this chat and in the Discord, in the announcements channel, and in the main chat. All right. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day.